I spend my nights under the stage lights, but after the applause, I'm back in my truck from my hometown dealer, Benoit Motors. The country roads of Louisiana are my soul, and Benoit Motors gets who I am and who we are. They are proud to be a dealership for the everyday American. Join me and become a member of their family. Benoit Motors. They're with you for all your life's big moments and all the miles in between.
Well, good evening, Panther fans. Thanks for joining us here in Week 7 of the Coaches Show, brought to you by Benoit Ford in Farmerville. I'm Ben Hackler with Coach Doty, and man, Coach, coming off a big win last week, you had a chance to kind of enjoy, hopefully, that win, and how'd the weekend go for you?
Man, it's great. Great win by the Panthers, and got to play a lot of kids. We just went out and executed really well in the first half, and came in at halftime, wanted to give some young kids a chance to play, and be honest with you, just a little disappointed that we didn't move the ball a little bit better offensively, but those kids are still working and got time to grow, so still excited about the win for sure.
Well, Coach, coming out in the first half, a homecoming game, we had talked about just the challenges of the week and kind of getting everybody focused, and it seemed like that first half you guys came out and on both sides of football really were able to dominate. Looking back in that first half, what were some things that stood out to you on both sides of the football?
Well, I thought we opened up the game tackling really well. This was only the second game, and it was 2 in a row that we started on defense. Start the game kicking off, and we really like to do that. We just feel like it gives us a great opportunity to kind of set the tone for our offense, and I just thought we went out, tackled well. We forced 3 and out, I believe, and then our offense just kind of took over from there.
Well, Coach, offensively, it seemed like the game plan was similar to what we saw a week ago. Of course, your defense was able to give some short fields, which helped some of that, but able to just line up and go straight at Bastrop and get some points early. I think you scored 21 points in each of those first 2 quarters. What do you attribute that success to? What was working so well for us?
I think just experience is starting to show. Guys, we had some injuries. We got our full offensive line back last week. Just the reps, the experience. We kept talking about week 7, week 6, 7, and 8 being the weeks where we start showing a lot of improvement. And I just think that we just did a heck of a job up front, offensive line wise. I think you made a comment earlier when all your starters are, graded out above 80, you're gonna win a lot of football games.
Yeah. And got a lot of 80s from a lot of different guys. I think I counted 7 or 8 different 80s on the board, which included guys like Michael Bozeman. I think Bozeman's a kid that played center for you last week, didn't play as much this week, but a kid that's coming on, and when he gets in there, seems to be taking advantage of it.
It's no doubt. We like that guy, man. I mean, he is very, very undersized. You talk about the size of the dog in the fight, and then you got to talk about the size of the fighting dog with Bozeman, and he's got plenty of it, man. We really like him. He's a tough kid. If you look back on film against Richwood, he was overmatched every play, but I think he graded out right at 80%, maybe 75 to 80% against Richwood. Yeah. With those monsters they got down there. So very proud of Bozeman. Keeps working and keeps getting better every week.
Well, Coach, and the other young guy, we've talked about him I think a couple of weeks now, but again, was David Roach really rising to the challenge you put in front of him.
Yeah, Roach is the guy you just love to go watch him play. I mean, I believe if I bought a ticket, I'd turn and try to find 78 and watch him every play. Even when he messes up full speed. And, he's driving people twice the size down the field, 10, 15 yards, and, he's making them like it. So just, you could tell this guy is raised, how he was raised, and he's just got some toughness in him. And, I've known his dad now for however long I've been here, 6, 7 years, and the apple don't fall far from the tree. You know the guys that you want on your side if things go down, yeah. and his dad is definitely one of them. So David didn't fall far from the tree with that.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, a couple other guys on offense that I thought really stood out, and one of the guys that to me has been a guy that each week has gotten better is your fullback, Brody Belanger. Can you talk a little bit about his progress and success he's had?
Well, the more carries he gets, the better he's going to get. The first carry of the night, I thought he was a little high and a little soft, and You know, we got him on the sideline and got that corrected, and you know, he's doing a really good job of running the football. And he got better the other night as the night went on, just running tough, running behind his pads, hitting it wide open. And he'll be the first one to tell you we've got to improve his blocking. We lived last year with 2 fullbacks who were outstanding runners, and just to be honest with you, I don't know if they ever blocked anybody. So, but you know, Brody is the type of guy we got to have some blocking out of him. He's got to do a little bit better job of that. He'll work hard on that. He's worked on it this week. But you know, he's just a 10th grader as well.
Yeah.
And we just know that when we get in week 11 with that guy, he's going to be our dude.
Yeah, Belange is one of those kids, Coach, I think to me has been one of the most coachable kids I've seen, that when you do correct him, seems like he makes the adjustments, or at least gives you the effort to make those adjustments.
Well, it means a lot to him. And, you know, he comes from a baseball family, but this is his sport. So it means an awful lot to him.
Well, Coach, just real quickly, another guy that I know we talk about from time to time, and a guy that's gotten a lot of highlights or a lot of, I would say, fanfare around him is John Barr. And John was able to get kind of going this week. Had 2 touchdown catches and just looked really good playing the part that you had for him in the offense. Can you talk about John and even his connection with Mason? Those guys, when they hook up, it's an awful pretty thing to watch.
Yeah, you know, and John's getting healthy. I mean, you know, he's had some bumps and bruises, and, you know, I think he's finally 100% healthy. And, you know, we hit a lot of that during early games, you know, a little hip flexor here, a thumb injury here, and you know, he's just a guy that he's finally getting healthy, and he looks really good running routes. He's got that burst back, and Mason and him definitely have a connection, and I agree with you. You know, the first fade route was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And, of course, I enjoyed the one on the goal line down there because him and Ford had been jockeying all night long, and you know, it was good to see him get that one on 4 down there. And but yeah, but one of the things that's overlooked with John is his ability to block.
Yeah.
And you know, he's doing a heck of a job with that. And we have young receivers behind him and young receivers beside him. But if you really want to learn how to play receiver, you know, that's the guy they need to look up to. Mason, I thought, threw the ball. We threw it 4 times the other night. I think he's 4 out of 4. And that's what we need. I mean, you know, we need to get to where we're throwing the ball 8 to 10 times a game, and you know, we need 7 completions, you know, just to be honest with you. And but he's ready, man. I mean, here we go. We're going into week 7, and we're healthy. You know, without the guys that are out for the year, I think we're healthy as we've been. So looking forward and see what happens.
Well, Coach, defensively, let's talk about some of those guys. You guys. I didn't have the stats to the half, just looked at the total ball game. Your defense gave up 39 yards on 37 plays, and I believe held Bastrop to -16 rushing on that. And so you mentioned that you tackled well, you covered well. What were you most pleased with as you look back on the film with your defense?
Just flying to the football, you know, having more hats to the football than we've been having. I didn't really realize that yardage right there, but you know, that's pretty daggum good.
Yeah.
You know, you can't hold air to 1 yard a play usually, but that's great, man. That's outstanding. I thought our kids played really well. We played together. We celebrated together when we made big plays. You know, the play, the 2 plays that come back, you know, obviously, and I know you'll talk about the punt return, but the interception return by Jackson King that, you know, was nullified by a holding call. Just the amount of blue jerseys that was running down the sideline with him, you know, that was a 70, 80-yard return somewhere around in that, you know, and just the effort of all the guys, you know, and see them down there celebrating, and I think we've kind of missed that, you know, but we're starting to understand that it takes more than one person to win a football game, and you know, no more me mentality. It's an us mentality now, and I can see it coming together, and, you know, just very proud of them.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned that celebration. I remember looking at the film and seeing one of your defensive tackles, I believe it's Logo, who basically escorts King into the end zone. So it says a lot about just your ability to cheer for a teammate and to be there for him when your defensive tackle is running stride for stride with your linebacker.
Yeah, I don't know how much Jackson enjoyed watching that on film, and you got a 285-pound D tackle running stride for stride with you, but it was a joy to watch for sure.
Yeah. Well, Coach, some other guys that kind of stood out the other night. Your defensive line, Charlie's down right now, but you've had some other guys step up. Who are you most impressed with, and who are you looking for more progress from in the weeks ahead on defensive line?
Well, Kellen is quietly having a good season. He's not getting a bunch of sacks or stats, but he's doing his job, and we're just proud to have him on our team. I thought Javarius, as a defensive end the other night, played really well. And again, it was quiet because you don't get a lot of fanfare usually unless you're getting sacks and that. But Himes had 3 solo tackles and 1 sack. That's a good night for a defensive end. And but we're really proud of him. Amari Hatfield is another guy whose stats are not eye-popping, but he does his job and does a lot of good things for us. I really like our interior guys. We're starting to play a lot more people. Caleb Evans, Logo, Jack Moore, Tony Speck starting to play more, getting more reps. That just helps our depth in there. So, and then you got Himes and Kellen Hall at our ends, and Marty can also go play end, and we're getting a little more flexibility, and I like our team right now.
Well, Coach, in your secondary, you mentioned the interception Jackson King had and taking that to the house. The holding call calls it back. But you had another guy who made 2 interceptions there in the first half with Max Reisinger. Max, not really nice coverage on the near sideline at one point, and really kind of caught a ball off the turf almost.
Yeah.
Was able to turn around, and it kind of stuck in his hands, and then made a really nice read from where I was sitting on an out route to the other side to pick it off. Max seems to be a guy that's kind of emerging as a leader for you in that secondary. How have you seen him kind of grow into that this year?
By leaps and bounds. I thought the first interception was, it was a great play. I mean, great coverage. Even a well-thrown ball would probably been incomplete, but, the adjustment he made on it was really good. The second one is textbook. I mean, it's just if you go out here and watch Coach RJ and you watch Coach Sims, Coach DBs, I mean, that is textbook, exactly what they teach. And, good hands too, man. I mean, that's a good catch right there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's coming on. He also, he not only had 2 interceptions, he's a good tackler and getting better. So, yeah, man, he's our leader back there right now, and just happy that he's on our side.
Well, Coach, before we wrap, just talking about this particular ball game up, you did mention a moment ago, and I do want to talk about special teams. Every week I've heard you say that this is the week maybe we'll take one to the house, and you do get that big shot in the arm from Jay Bonner this week. And talk about that return and what you saw from him.
Just a great effort by him to make the first 2 people miss and get to the wall. We do, I think Coach Sims and Coach Harrison do a great job of punt return, punt block preparation. Once he got to the wall, then he's only got the kicker to beat, and just if you go back and watch it on film, just the effort of everybody, some smart plays, not blocking in the back when we had several opportunities. Just, great return by him, and just kind of electrified the crowd, man.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
And, Coach, you talk about that, the no block in the back penalties, and really the way that the game has evolved over the last few years is even some of those no-look shots have been taken out of the ball game. And so I saw a couple of you guys I know in the wall in moments that 10, 15 years ago would have been what we call decleaters. They actually did what they were supposed to, avoid the penalty and do that. How has the game, have you seen it evolve in that way? Like, how hard is it to coach guys not to do that decleater move?
Well, it's tough, man. I mean, you get a shot on a guy and you want to take it.
Yeah.
And but now it's almost like you got to shield that guy, like you're blocking out for a rebound. And I think it's a good rule. I mean, nobody, if that's your son running down the field looking at somebody and he gets hit in, the ear hole, and it's really I love the toughness of football.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but I mean that's a good rule.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to have it. And then you got to coach it up. And sometimes you still going to have that guy that's going to take that shot. And but it like I said, man, it's a good rule. I think it's a safety rule, and you want to have the same 11 you start with at the end of the game. So good rule as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Coach, again, congrats on a big homecoming win. Panthers beat Bastrop 42-0, and Coach, you did get a shutout. I know that as a defensive guy, man, that's something you guys always look for. And
them don't come along very often.
No, in fact, Coach, we commented on it on the live stream that coming out the second half, I think we you hold them to 3 and out, they punt, we mishandle the punt. They recover it deep inside territory, I believe, about the 10-yard line, 12-yard line. And you, without hesitation, send your ones back out there on defense because the shutout meant that much to you. And it had to mean to those guys. And I think for your team watching that, for me, it just said, hey, these guys are beginning to embrace the concepts and things. And what did the shutout mean to you as a coach?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's awesome. But I think more than anything, you want to see how those kids, how you guys react in that adverse moment right there. You just had a turnover deep in your territory, and put your ones out there and see how they handle it, because that's going to happen to us.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to practice that situation. That's something we can't do out here on Tuesdays.
Right.
So you have to practice that. And but, yeah, it was great to get a shutout. And, like I said, they just don't happen very often. There's too many good offensive coaches and too many great athletes on our schedule. It's just hard to shut people out.
Well, Coach, again, congrats on the big win. And Panther fans, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with more of the Coaches Show in just a moment.
I spend my nights under the stage lights, but after the applause, I'm back in my truck from my hometown dealer, Benoit Motors. The country roads of Louisiana are my soul, and Benoit Motors gets who I am and who we are. They are proud to be a dealership for the everyday American. Join me and become a member of their family. Benoit Motors. They're with you for all your life's big moments and all the miles in between.
Well, Panther fans, welcome back to the Coaches Show with Coach Lee Doty, brought to you by Benoit Ford in Farmerville. Again, we want to say a special thank you to Mr. Danny and Miss Monica Benoit and their support of Panther football and all they do for our team and our program. Coach, I know you enjoyed last week's win, but you had to go to work pretty quickly, starting to get ready for this week with Union Parish, and also having fall break kind of hitting you right here in this week, a short week. And so, Coach, I want to ask you, before we talk about Union Parish, how did you guys kind of handle that moment of enjoying Friday night and then kind of jumping into the abbreviated week of practice? Were you able to kind of take a breath at any of that and actually savor the moment, or did you have to just go to work?
Well, a lot of our work defensively, since we had a home game, once you leave pregame meal, it's really up to the kids. So our coaches came in here and we're able to get 2 or 3 hours of work in on Union Parish Friday. And then, you don't have a whole lot of time to enjoy because you got to come in all day Saturday and you got to prepare because you're practicing Sunday, after church. So, you lose a day of prep, so you kind of got to find that somewhere in there. We're so familiar with each other, us and Union Parish, that, you can turn the film on. You can have 1,000 things that you want to do, but ultimately, you end up doing the same thing you've tried to do.
Yeah.
And but, it was good. I enjoyed the quick turnaround. I enjoyed, flushing that and start getting ready for Union Parish. I enjoyed the Sunday afternoon practice. I always enjoyed doing that. I like short weeks. I like Thursday night games. And but, boy, having fall break has made this so much better. Being able to come in and maybe spend a little more time than normal on Mondays. No JV game, you got to get ready for was really nice. You spend more time in film. Your kids get to come practice and they ain't been in school all day.
Yeah.
So they don't show up pissed off, from being in the building for 6 hours, So, boy, it's just a breath of fresh air. And, we've had great practices this week. Really, to be honest with you, the last 3 weeks we've practiced really well. We had a terrible Tuesday last week, but, those are common around here. And, that doesn't – anytime you have a great Tuesday, it certainly doesn't mean you're going to go win the football game. Yeah. So, that's a lot of prep on Tuesdays, which is our Monday this week. So, yeah, man, it's been awesome. I've enjoyed it. I wish we could get another week off next week. So.
Well, Coach, as you mentioned, Panthers on the road this week up to Union Parish, and has been a big matchup, great contest every time we've played. Of course, the most recent meeting in the Dome last December. And you mentioned that this is no stranger to us. You guys are very familiar with them. They're very familiar with us. And, Coach, what is that relationship like between these two coaching staffs and their programs?
Well, I mean, when we're not playing each other, we're helping each other, I think. There seems to be a burden of animosity that's out there between the two programs, and, that's good. I mean, if that, but – we don't sit around here when we're getting ready to play, Oak Grove, and we're not thinking about Union Parish.
Yeah.
And I don't think they do either. I think it's a 1 week. It's a man versus man contest, and then after that, until the next time we play, I mean, it's good to go. But I mean, why else would it be any other way?
Yeah.
It's got to be that way. So. They bring out the best in us, and they bring out the worst in us, and I think we do the same thing for them.
Well, Coach, there's no doubt that the Farmers come in this week with a 4-1 record, and I know for them, listening to just some clips on TV and things, this date for them has definitely been circled on the calendar since we left New Orleans back in December. And you mentioned we know each other pretty well. When you've turned the tape on, though, looking at this version of Union Parish, I mean, obviously some familiar faces still there, especially with Trey Holly. What do you see from this version of the Farmers?
Well, just to be quite honest with you, they're better than I thought they would be. Losing as many people as they did last year, replacing as many offensive linemen as they did, replacing as many on defense as they did. They're a different team. They're a young offensive line, but they're still huge.
Yeah.
And, they're still foot to foot, and they still, come off with the flat back and get after you. Defensively, not as big up front as they have been, but I'm not sure they're not faster. But, yeah, I mean, he's playing young guys too.
Yeah.
A lot of sophomores and juniors just like we are. So, but, yeah, impressive team, man. They've done a good job, and, he played a tough Shreveport team and, a tough airline team, so a very good Homer team. So they ought to be prepared to play, and I think our preseason schedule has kind of made us tough. So, looking forward to it.
Well, Coach, for our offense, you talk about kind of some of the new guys they've got on defense, the way that it looks. What are the things that we need to do to have success tomorrow night?
Well, we need to pop some runs. We need to, our 6 and 7 yard gains need to, we need to have some 20 and 30 yard gains. And, we need to establish the fullback, I think, and we need to come off the ball. And, I mean, we just need to do what we do, but we got to hit some throws. We have to hit some throws and get them to back up off of us a little bit, take those two safeties and make them back them up to 20 yards and, play against 9 guys.
Well, Coach, on defense for us, I mean, there's no mystery where the ball is going to go most of the time. Trey Holly did break the all-time, rushing record here in Louisiana. And so as you've looked at their offense, talked about Trey, how have you worked to prepare your guys defensively this week?
We just wrapping up tackling. We've got to have more than one hat to the ball with this guy, trying to stop his feet, make him restart. If he gets a downhill run and you don't ever make him stop his feet or slow him down, it's going to be trouble. So, try to penetrate and just play tough, man, and understand this guy's going to get some, I mean, he's going to get some yards. He's going to score some, and just got to line up next play and get after it again. I think the quarterback is a little more athletic than the guy they've had. He runs the veer. They actually read it with this guy. He does a pretty good job, and, they still have one of those big pterodactyl-looking tight ends they have every year. I mean, the guy's 6'3", 220. The other tight end is more of a receiver, but number 13, he can run. Their fullback looks like a carbon copy of the guy that graduated last year. As a matter of fact, if you were just watching film, that you'd think they were the same guy. So yeah, I mean, they got some weapons back, and of course, you always talk about Trey, but they got some other good players as well.
Well, Coach, there are some keys to the game, and as you look at your game plan, special teams, offense, defense, what would you say are the keys this week across the board?
Special teams, I think, is a battle we have to win. We've always it seems like we've always won that battle, and we've struggled a little on special teams, and we've worked really hard this week on some things, and I think we have to win that battle to win the game. And, of course, trying to just slow Trey Holly down. We talked about last year over there. I think we held him to 20-something yards in the first half. Then he came out and put 160 on us or something in the second half. But, the damage had been done. And,
right.
You just want to contain him. And I said the other day, you hold this guy below 200 yards, you really, you've done a good job. You got a chance to win the game. So, you just can't allow him to have, 3 or 4 80 and 90-yard runs.
Yeah. Well, Coach, the other thing I'd ask you about that is, Trey is the leading rusher in the state, but he also, as we saw in the Dome, can play a little bit of defense. And I haven't seen a lot of film of him this year on that side of the football. Do you expect to see him over there this Thursday night?
Oh, absolutely. They will not hesitate to play him against us. This is redemption week for them. And so, yes, all hands on deck.
Well, Coach, no doubt this is going to be one of the best environments we play in all year. Maybe not the friendliest environment that we'll be in as we make the road trip up there, but as always, a good environment for football up there in Union Parish. Coaching in that environment, what are the things that you've got to kind of balance with your team and with your coaches as you get into Doc Elliott Stadium?
Well, I mean, honestly, these are the games that you go into coaching for. These are the games that you stay in coaching for. And, just to understand that with where you're going and who you're playing, there's going to be a wave of emotion with these guys, and you got to be able to withstand that. But once, the first couple of series are over, all that emotion and everything, it becomes, execution. So, you just got to survive that wave, understand that they're going to be fired up and, breathing fire and all that, but we've survived that, 6 out of 7 times.
Yeah.
So, we just got to go do it again.
Well, Coach, as I said, good luck to you this week. Can't wait to kind of take you in that ball game tomorrow night. Coach, any final thoughts for our fans?
We expect a big crowd, and I know that our people are excited about this football game. I know their people are. It's still a heck of a ball game to go to, and I expect we'll have a packed house.
Well, Panther fans, want to remind you, Sterlington versus Union Parish this Friday night, 7 o'clock at Doc Elliott Stadium in Farmerville. If you can't make it, you can catch us on YouTube beginning at 6:30 with a replay of the Coaches Show, pregame show with myself and William Handy about 6:50, and kickoff right at 7. Also want to encourage you to check out our website, shspantherfootball.com, for highlight videos, game replays, and more. Also on Thursday night, you can find the link for the live stream on that website. I said 7 o'clock Friday night, 7 o'clock Thursday night. Let's make sure we get that right. Tomorrow night, Panthers versus Farmers in Farmerville. Coach, any final words?
Hey, man, look forward to this game. Look forward to seeing our fans there. And as always, go Panthers.
Folks, thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night as the Panthers take on the Farmers.
I spend my nights under the stage lights, but after the applause, I'm back in my truck from my hometown dealer, Benoit Motors. The country roads of Louisiana are my soul, and Benoit Motors gets who I am and who we are. They are proud to be a dealership for the everyday American. Join me and become a member of their family. Benoit Motors, they're with you for all your life's big moments and all the miles in between.
This broadcast is copyrighted by Empire Media and Management. Any unauthorized reproduction is strictly prohibited.